I'm 38F, married to my husband Mike, 40M, for 12 years, and we have our daughter Lily, 11F, who's this lively kid always drawing pictures or kicking a soccer ball around with her buddies after school. Our marriage has been okay overall. We deal with the regular stuff like juggling jobs and parenting, from packing lunches in the mornings to helping with homework at night, and I always figured we were on the same page. Lily's been talking about her hair a lot lately, wanting to chop it short for the hot weather, and I told her we could sit down as a family and figure it out. Maybe compromise on a bob or something fun, but not too drastic. But last weekend, while I was out grabbing groceries and running a few errands like picking up dry cleaning, Mike let her go ahead and shave it all off bald right there in the bathroom using his old clippers. She came bounding into the kitchen all grins, rubbing her smooth head and saying how light and free it felt, like she was ready for adventure. I walked in with the bags and just froze, staring because it felt so out of nowhere and way too much for a kid her age without any heads up. Mike just shrugged and said she asked nicely. He thought it'd be fine since hair grows back, and it was a chance for her to express herself without us hovering. At first, I tried to roll with it, but now school's a nightmare. Kids are picking on her nonstop, like whispering Baldy in the hallways or not letting her join tag at recess. And she came home in tears yesterday after some girls said she looked weird and wouldn't sit with her at lunch. The teacher even sent a note home about it causing distractions in class, and Lily's not the same bubbly girl. She hides under hats all the time and skips playing outside. I'm so mad at Mike for not waiting for me or considering how kids can be mean. He knows school isn't always easy, yet he acted like it was no big deal. We've been fighting about it constantly, with him calling me uptight and me saying he was thoughtless. And now we're hardly talking, eating dinners in silence, while Lily watches us nervously. My sister backs me up, saying he should have thought twice. But some friends think I'm blowing it out of proportion since it's just hair. It eats at me, replaying how a quick call to me could have stopped this whole mess. Am I in the wrong for being mad at my husband who let our daughter shave her head bald on a whim, and now she's being bullied at school, and our marriage is falling apart over it? Or am I making too much of this and need to let it go? Update 1. After I posted about Mike giving the green light for Lily to shave her head while I was out running errands, turning a potential family chat into this rash decision that had her pumped at first, but now facing bullies at school who tease her during recess and leave her out of games, I tried talking to him more about it, and it just led to bigger arguments that highlighted how differently we approach parenting, making home feel even more strained with all the unspoken stuff hanging in the air. We hashed it out that evening after tucking Lily in, sitting at the kitchen table with leftover dinner plates still out and her favorite hat tossed on the counter from where she yanked it off in frustration after another tough day. I started by saying how frustrated I was that he didn't hold off for me, bringing up the specific bullying incidents like the teacher's email about kids giggling behind her back in math class, or how she started begging to stay homesick to avoid the stares in the cafeteria. He pushed back, explaining he saw it as harmless fun, that kids need room to try things and it'd all blow over once the novelty wore off. And he accused me of focusing too much on fitting in, like I'm more concerned with what the other parents think than letting her be herself. I countered that it wasn't about appearances, but shielding her from real pain, reminding him how we always team up on decisions, like when we debated her bedtime or chose summer camps together to make sure it worked for everyone. Things got more intense as he admitted he probably should have sent a quick text but said I can be too quick to say no to her ideas, like the time I vetoed her wanting neon sneakers because they didn't match school uniforms, and I shot back that his go-with-the-flow attitude sometimes ignores the fallout, such as when he let her have unlimited snacks one weekend, and she ended up with a stomachache that ruined our family movie night. We went around in circles until he headed to the living room couch, muttering about needing space, and now we're in this awkward phase where we only talk about basics like who's picking her up from school, while Lily senses it and asks quiet questions like if we're fighting because of her. Friends I called for advice said it seems like built-up issues coming out, and one suggested we make a plan to talk to the school about the bullying, which I did by emailing the principal, but they just said they'd monitor it. My brother thinks Mike owes an apology, but is my holding onto the anger pushing us further apart? Or does he really need to step up and admit he handled it wrong? Update 2. Going back to Mike letting Lily buzz her head bald without checking with me, sparking all this school bullying where kids call her names in the hallways and she comes home hiding under hats, avoiding her usual after-school playdates. I raised it in that kitchen discussion where he brushed it off as no big deal, and we clashed over our parenting styles. Last week, after another rough pickup where I saw her sitting alone on the curb waiting for me, I pressed him for the real reason he said yes so fast, and it opened up about his own kid days, changing how I looked at the situation, and adding some understanding, though it didn't fix the tension right away. I brought it up over breakfast on Saturday, with Lily still asleep and us sipping coffee at the table, trying to keep my voice steady while flipping through her school notebook full of doodles she'd done to distract herself from the teasing. I asked point blank why he jumped in without me, especially knowing kids can be harsh, and after a long pause, he shared more about growing up. His folks were really strict and made him keep his hair long even though he hated it, leading to kids picking on him at recess and making him feel like an outcast. So when Lily asked, he wanted to give her the choice he never got, figuring it'd build her confidence without all the rules he resented. Lily woke up and joined in, saying she did it partly on a dare from friends, but also to test the school's picky dress code, like how they hassle girls with braids or bright colors, and she thought going bald would make a point about it being unfair. That made sense in a new way. I thought back to old photos of Mike with that shaggy hair he always complained about, and it clicked why he leans so hard into letting her decide things. We kept talking, with me explaining how it still hurt that he left me out, and him saying he gets now how it led to the bullying, like the time a boy tugged her hat off in line and laughed, which had her in tears when she told us later. Lily piped up that she kinda regrets it but likes how it started conversations with other kids about silly rules, and we all chuckled a bit when she compared her head to a shiny soccer ball from her games. It lightened the mood some, but Mike and I still bickered later that day over dinner prep, with him getting touchy if I second-guessed him, and me feeling like he doesn't always see the full picture. I met with a school counselor myself to push for anti-bullying talks in her class, and it helped a little with the teasing dying down. Friends say we're heading in the right direction by opening up, but are our clashing ways too much to overcome fully? Or can we keep building on these talks? Update 3. Here's how things shook out after Mike let Lily shave her head on that quick yes, kicking off the school bullying with kids teasing her in class and at lunch, which ramped up our arguments about how we parent. The breakfast chat where he opened up about his forced long hair as a kid, and she explained her protest against school rules, plus us having more family discussions to work through it. The following months had their share of ups and downs, but we figured out ways to handle it through lots of talks and small changes, though not everything's back to normal. We made a point to check in regularly as a family, like over weekend breakfasts where we'd go over the week. Mike started owning up more to thinking ahead, realizing his push for freedom sometimes misses the practical side. And I worked on loosening up, seeing how my caution can hold her back from growing, like letting her pick wild outfits for non-school days without commenting. Lily's hair is coming in now, short and curly, and she's turned the experience into something positive by chatting with classmates about standing up to dumb rules, even getting a few to join her in complaining to the principal, which led to the school tweaking their dress code a bit. She's back to her old self mostly, laughing with friends at soccer practice and not needing the hat as much, which has been a relief. Mike and I are getting along better, making efforts like teaming up on decisions from the start, such as planning her birthday party together without assumptions, and we've cut down on the snapping by taking walks to cool off after disagreements. But there's still some friction. Old grudges sneak in, like me quietly resenting how it all started or him getting defensive if I bring up past slip-ups. It's okay overall. Lily's doing great with more confidence and school friends rallying around her. Our family's closer in everyday ways like shared chores without the heavy air. But the marriage has these rough edges that remind us we need to stay on top of communicating to keep things from building up again.